Thank you so kindly. So again, as Kathy said, I am her counterpart for the eastern side of the diocese. I handle the faith formation for catechists and catechetical leaders on my side, so we provide all the training, things that some of you may or may not have taken. And I also report to Sister Ellen Rose Coughlin for the Department of Education, so I also go around to the Catholic schools and check on their religion programs and all those kinds of fun things. So I just got done visiting Watertown and Augustinian this week, and I love visiting the little kids. It's just great to see their faith in action. So with that, I do have some handouts for you. Let me do that. So we'll just take one and pass them all back. I should have enough. Oh, this gentleman one. So we have an hour to do this. Most of the material that you're going to have in this is basically resource material. I'm going to kind of go through it with you at the end, but it's basically tips and tricks on what to do, what not to do, how to run an effective group, that sort of thing. We'll cover most of it in the PowerPoint, but again, reference is always good for folks. So first, let me ask, has anybody here ever led a group, an adult group discussion of some sort? Is there anybody that has never done that? Oh, a few. All right.
I didn't answer.
So have any of you facilitated a faith sharing group of some sort, be it a Bible study or a, some kind of group at church, and others have maybe not done that? Do we have? Whoa, we got a fresh group. Okay. So based on that, on the second page, if you want to just kind of take a look at that, and we're just going to kind of, normally instead of reflecting on this and writing, we'll just kind of do it as a group. So can you recall a highly effective or satisfying small group discussion in which you participated? Have we all ever been part of a group of some sort? Okay, so think about that. So what did group members do that helped facilitate that discussion? If you were in a group discussion, whether it be work, faith, whatever, what were some of the things that helped the discussion as far as from the participants? Yes?
If it was about a reading, you did prior readings, so you're familiar with the topic.
Okay.
Presented alternative viewpoints.
Okay. My writing is terrible, but you get the point, right? Okay?
And people are receptive to each other's viewpoints. There's a no judgment attitude.
Okay?
Ask questions.
Okay.
Along with staying open-minded and no judgment.
And open. Okay. Okay.
Generally,
Go ahead.
staying engaged.
Okay.
So,
Great one.
Having time limits.
Okay. And did you have something? This young lady over here?
Oh, he stole mine.
Okay.
Breaks.
Breaks.
Proper breaks.
So the participants asked for that?
Well, they say the mind can only absorb what the butt can
Okay.
absorb, right?
All right.
There you go.
Okay. So what did the facilitator do, perhaps, to help this along?
keep things on an
Okay.
agenda.
Yes.
Kind of keep things on a focused agenda. You know.
Okay.
Yes, here's the agenda, yeah.
So this is the facilitator. Okay?
I addition to that, ask guiding questions to keep things focused and get more information and engagement.
Okay?
Be prepared.
Okay.
You fail to prepare, then prepare to fail, right?
Yep,
Use proper use of PowerPoint and visual aids.
okay. How about we say technology, how's that?
That'll work for me.
Challenge you.
Challenge, okay.
Involve everyone.
Okay. And the last one.
Oh, I don't know if I got the last one.
Oh, okay.
I got one.
Go ahead.
I'll try to make it fun.
Oh, fun is always good. And we'll take a last one back there.
I'll make sure everybody has a chance to speak.
Speak, yep. Okay.
Can I add one more?
Sure.
Ensures a safe space. So respect.
Okay, got it. Good one.
Yeah, proper seating and stuff like that, you mean?
Well, we're gonna talk about this one actually.
I just mean that people can share. There was a comment on the previous.
Like, no
Yes,
judgment.
about, so that's actually, so you guys actually have hit probably everything. I can just go home now. And hit everything. So you're gonna see that a lot of what the facilitator does, obviously, in a positive way, affected the positive outcome that you had, right? Consequently, you can have a not so good experience as well. So, one more thing, and then we'll get to the videotape. How about that? So, based on your experiences, what would you consider to be the most important characteristics or skills of the facilitator? Skills and characteristics of the facilitator.
Again, he has to be open-minded.
Okay?
Lead and keep the group focused.
Okay?
As an instructor for years in staff training, I struggled with this. It's not a lecture, it's a small group.
It's a discussion, not a lecture, yeah.
Okay?
Clear and confident public speaking skills.
She said clearly and confident.
Without lecture.
Okay, one more.
Read your audience.
Read your, oh, okay.
Intuitive, yeah.
Okay. Oh boy, you guys got everything.
Listen.
Listen, okay, yep. Got two more.
Speak to your audience.
Okay, you kind of say, yep, speak to the audience, okay? And,
Be professional.
okay, so you guys hit probably pretty much most of the key points. So you know what to do already, right? It's okay. We're just gonna kind of touch on some of those things, just to kind of give you a skill set. As Kathy mentioned, some of you may or may not. I don't know what your ministry areas are, but there's always, always, always opportunity in all of our parishes for continuing adult faith formation, and that in and of itself is kind of a unique focus, if you will. Parish surveys people continually tell us that they need catechism, that they need catechesis. Adults, you guys are all here. Obviously, you want to continue your faith, deepen your faith so that you can go out and share in whatever ministry area you are so that you do have a good, solid foundation and that certainly translates to running an adult group. Nobody has to be an expert in anything, and that is key, as you know. Any program that you may run, especially a lot of the prepackaged programs, they all come with a leader guide, they come with a participant guide. The leader guides all have the general, do this, do this, do this, don't do this, don't, and with the questions, so you don't have to create anything, right? You don't have to create anything. All you have to do is follow the program, basically, right? So that's also key. If you are going to do some kind of, faith sharing or prayer program, you really don't want to just kind of go off on your own and create something out of the blue. You really want to stick to, a good Catholic, recognized, approved program, especially if we're looking to deepen folks' education level and things like that. So, okay, so with that, you probably don't need anything else in this. Actually, before I go on, I'm going to make a plug. I don't know if any of you saw this in your bulletins or not, but oops, and
Well, one almost got away.
I will
Could
leave
do
it.
that again.
Yeah, that was fun. So part of what we do at the diocese also is offer programs or programming out to the diocese. And coming up on November 5th and 6th, so it's a Saturday, Sunday. So on the eastern half of the region, we're going to be at St. Joseph's Community Outreach Center in Plattsburgh. And on Sunday, it'll be at Dosey Hall at Sacred Heart Church. And it's becoming a Eucharistic family. Tips to make Christ alive in the home. So we actually have a young family who are very strong Catholics. They have young children, and they're dedicated to going to mass and things like that. And we hear all the time, I can't bring my kids to church. Blah. So they're going to come and talk about their experience, what they do, how they handle it, and how it's not so scary, and that the benefits far outweigh the crying baby in the pew. So if you know of family members who could benefit by maybe going to this, they can certainly bring their kids, because they're going to have their kids with them as well. So anyway, I'll leave that. You guys can check that out. If you don't have it in your bulletin or don't know anybody, go on the diocesan website. Or do you have access to eNotes? You all know about eNotes? So eNotes is the diocesan Facebook page, if you will. It's not the Facebook page, but it's the one place where every 2 weeks, everything in the diocese goes out electronically, so you can see what's going on in all the parishes. The idea is it goes to the secretaries and the pastors for them to say, hey, look what's going on in parish. You may want to do this. So it's not just for your own parish, but it's to see what's going on around the diocese. So anyway, that's my plug for that.
Can you get at that through the diocesan website?
Yes, if you go to the diocesan website and type in e-notes, like electronic it'll take you to the e-notes section, and then there's a way to subscribe to it, and you get it in your email. Yeah, so highly recommend everybody to subscribe to that. It comes out every 2 weeks. So it gives you diocesan events as well as parish events and anything that people think everyone should know about that they may want to take advantage of. Okay, so with that, I'm going to put my little clicker. Hopefully this is going to work from here. Wow. All right, I'm going to stand back here. So, why are you not moving? All right, let's back up.
Andrew, can you run two computers at the same time?
I just need, if only I had longer arms.
There we go. Okay. So, what is a faith sharing group? So, I think you probably all realize that a faith sharing group is a little bit different than a business meeting or, a discussion group for whatever, right? So, there's some specific characteristics to a faith sharing group. Is that you're all you join a group of people that are sharing life and faith, valuing one another, connecting with one's church story, and reaching out in service, right? More than a prayer service or a Bible study group, a faith-sharing group is like the church because it's all of the above, right? Together with your group, you'll explore how you live as Catholic on your spiritual journey. So it's exploring that, and again, exploring your journey, right? So skills for facilitating the meeting. Create an inclusive environment. That was mentioned, right? Participation from members is essential for a well-facilitated meeting. Communicate clear guidelines. We talked about that. And instructions, group dynamics, management, empathy, and active listening. So those are some of the skills that you need, right? Good listening skills, good communication skills. You want to look people in the eye. You don't want to be looking down at the floor and at the ceiling the whole time. And generally speaking, in a faith-sharing group, someone is not standing up like I am. You're sitting around the table, right? So you're looking at people eye level. And one of Jeremy brought up about the safe space, right? So one of the criteria is that you set the guidelines at the beginning of the session, depending whether it's a one-off meeting or if it's going to be meeting for 10 weeks. What's said in the group stays in the group, right? So respect for one another. If someone is disruptive, we're going to ask that person to let others share, things like that. If you're not comfortable in front of a group, not everyone, sometimes I'm amazed that I meet teachers who say, I can't get up in front of a group. I'm like, you do it every single day. But it's different with a group of kids than, right? I know teachers who don't want to be lectors because they think, I can't do that. Anyway, so everybody has their skill sets, their comfort level, but if you feel uncomfortable, what's the best way to get over that is to jump in, right, and do it. So it's not really difficult. You're all adults. You're all faithful people. You ask the Holy Spirit to guide you, and He'll do that. Any questions, comments? Okay, so we kind of talked about this. I think we kind of hit that, right? What were the good points, the bad points of a, okay, as ministers in the church, you may have a specific function or role. We talked about that. And you probably are going to do more than one thing if you're not already doing that now, right? How many of us do multiple things? And you thought, oh, I think I'm going to focus on this, and then that's not even what you're doing, right? It doesn't really matter, right? But we're all called on to do something we haven't done before. And again, how you may be called on to do some of these things. So as I mentioned, most packaged programs have some kind of a leader guide, and actually I think the second to last page in your packet is a sample how to lead small groups from a series called The Presence. Are any of you familiar with that? It was put out by Augustinian Institute. We actually ran it as a diocesan program last fall. And so again, in the packet, right, for the leader, it tells you, right, set the tone, right, encourage involvement, use open-ended questions, keep, right, affirm people, right, say, oh, I have to get all your names, I'm sorry, I missed that. Avoid advice. Sometimes, the advice piece can get funky a little bit in some group dynamics, but when you're using a program, let the program material do the talking. You're not the teacher. As someone said, you're not the lecturer, you're not the teacher, you're not the expert, you're just the facilitator, right? The facilitator is to keep everyone on track, kind of guide people, make sure you don't get all crazy, and stick to the program pretty much, right? In a positive way.
Kind of skip the affirmed answer. I think that's a really good one too.
Yes, so what is your name?
Blaine Shrewsbury.
Blaine?
Yes.
Okay, so if you said a statement, Blaine, I would say, Blaine, that was great. Thank you very much for that comment.
That's what I mean.
Right, so, yes, so that's a way of affirming them. And another way of affirming something is maybe in a talkative Tommy world, or a takeover Tommy who wants to take over the discussion. Tom, I appreciate you sharing that with us, but we have to give everybody else a chance. So if you want to discuss it later, I'll be glad to talk to you offline, right? So that's a way of, did I pick on him?
You're just doing something that I've done in the past.
Oh, no. Right, so there's two ways to affirm, and you're still doing it in a positive way with a smile. You're not saying, Tom, shut up already, enough, right? You might be,
Theoretically, yes.
yeah. We're thinking that in our head, but we have to be polite about it, right? Okay, so be flexible, again, things happen, we know that, and stick around afterwards, maybe people want to talk, you know, there might be things that come up that need to be taken, don't take up the group's time with that. So, always, those kinds of programs always have stuff like that. Okay, so, well, actually, I'm sorry, I ran this last year and I didn't update this, this piece, but you have that. Okay, so, we've kind of gone over some of the faith sharing guidelines already, right? We're not going to do a demonstration. So if you look up in the dictionary, the definition of facilitation, right, is the act of helping other people deal with a process, right? Or reach an agreement or solution without getting directly in the process discussion yourself. So again, in a kind of corporate world, the facilitator, if there's a specific process that has to happen, you know, this group does this, that group has this, who reports to who, how do you get it all done? That's the role of the group facilitator. In a faith sharing environment, you're still facilitating that process of getting people to open up, to be comfortable, and again, you know, you're gonna have not so open people, you're gonna have people that wanna jump in, and kind of being able to, as someone said, read the audience, right? Look at the body language, learn that kind of stuff. So if maybe you're not, you know, good at that, maybe that's something you want to pursue, you know, offline or, you know, those kinds of things. So the process, just remember, keep the process going, right? And also the act of helping other people to deal with the process or reach a solution. So you're the helper. You're the helper. Okay. Another definition is a person or thing that makes the process easier. Makes the process easier. So again, if you have a group and maybe some people are feeling uncomfortable, your job is to help them feel less uncomfortable. Yes?
Would it be something to consider if somebody has never done this before, like shadowed somebody?
Yes,
before, if people could
absolutely,
do it together?
absolutely, yes, absolutely, yes. Co-facilitating is a great thing. And especially, yes, especially if you're gonna do it for the first time, that might be a good way to kind of jump in the pool, if you will, if you had a buddy in the class or someone that you knew, and you could take turns alternating maybe the questions. And again, typically in a prepared program, you're gonna have the questions and the answers. So it's not like, I don't know the answer. Usually the leader has the answers and the group doesn't, right?
But if you don't know the answer, admit that you don't know the answer.
Exactly, yes, ding, 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 you get the gold cookie, yep. So, we never want to give the wrong answer, and if you don't know the answer, it is perfectly fine to say, gee, I really don't know that, and I don't want to give you the wrong answer, I'll get back to you, right? So you create that parking lot list, if you've heard of that before, let me write that down, I'll look it up, I'll get back to you next week, or I'll send you via email, whatever, right? And that's going to come up in ministry continually. People are going to say, oh, I thought the Catholic Church, blah, blah, and you're going to be like, So that's part of the reason that you're doing this training, so that, again, you're not going to be experts, you're not theological, you haven't done this for 8 years, like even priests make mistakes, right? We know everybody makes mistakes, but the point is you know maybe where to go find that, or how to get where you're going to get that answer, right? And how to verify it. So, okay. So again, I think we've pretty much covered this, right? Structure the group, go through that. So again, the role of the facilitator, think of yourself as a conductor, right? A catalyst to kind of push them along, and maybe a little bit of a coach, right? Positive, encouragement, right? Okay. Neutrality. Somebody said, where was that? Somebody said something about that before, right? Not taking a side, or
Open-mindedness.
right, open-mindedness. So again, you may have two people with differing opinions, and one may be stronger opinionated than the other. We don't want to really get into an argumentative situation, and everybody has a right to their opinion, but at the same time, in that kind of situation, you kind of have to not be, well, Blaine, you need to, and what is your name? Andrew. You know, just say, Blaine, okay, great, Andrew, it sounds like we have a difference of opinion, let's move on. You just don't want to get into that, right?
So you don't want to get into an argument out of it.
Right, and again, you know, typically although you never know, I mean, in any kind of, you know, open program that you leave open to the public to come in, you don't know who's going to come in. There could always be somebody that just was new to the area, saw it somewhere, and is looking for our fight.
Especially nowadays.
Right, so, you know.
Maybe I do want to argue.
Yeah.
Well, I love to argue, I'll tell you.
One of the other tips that they'll give you, so if you're gonna be running, you know, meeting for, let's say, 4 or 5 weeks, it's a Bible study or a group study, and you know, so over time you get to know people, just like you lovely folks have done. If there is like a takeover person, one of the suggestions is that you give that person a job to do, right? So what is your name? That just said, Alinda. So, Alinda, you know what? Could you be my timekeeper? I would love if you could we're going to give everybody just 2 minutes to reply, so that she's not kind of constantly jumping in. So she has to say, oh, sorry, time's up. You in the pink shirt? Or maybe help them be a greeter, or whatever it is. If you give them a job to do, then they feel like they're part of the group and they feel important. And again, it's not the perfect solution, but try it, right? You got nothing to lose. Okay. So why is a facilitator important? The larger the group, the more it takes to keep them under control, right? Again, in a faith-sharing group, you're typically looking at maybe 10. They don't really recommend that if you're going to do a small group. That's why it's called a small group, right? You want to kind of keep it to maybe 10 people. Otherwise, you have to break off into smaller groups so you can have discussion and all of those things, right? So obviously, the larger the group, they have a lot more to manage. Allows everyone in the room to get comfortable. That's the other thing. Obviously, you want to set the stage. You want to have, you know, hospitality if you can. It just depends on where you're meeting and what the rules are and who has money and who doesn't, or if people want to contribute or however that is. So again, always make it inviting, make it warm, make sure everyone can see each other, those sorts of things. So encourage participation, right? So sometimes it's not always advisable to, let's see, the gentleman in the back with the yellow. What's your name? Gary. So let's just say Gary's been sitting there the whole time. Everybody else is kind of joining in, and Gary has just been, mum's the word. He's just not having it. That doesn't mean he's not participating up here or here. Maybe he's not comfortable speaking, right? But you have to kind of be careful by saying, gee, Gary, we haven't heard from you. Do you have anything to offer? Sometimes that can work, but you have to really, because if that could just close them up further.
Yeah, be careful about signaling people out.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. You know, or if you just say, Gary, would you like to contribute? And he just says no, you go, okay. And then you just move on again. But give them an opportunity.